I thought I had it set up perfect, and then as I'm looking at it, it was kind of off and out of the way.
It's because when the video started, it was a different picture than what we were looking at.
Oh yeah, sometimes it tricks you like that. Hi guys, it's been a long time. Geez, I still have my wristband on, but this thing on still. I'm gonna take that off, so when I wave my hands all around, you're not distracted by the ribbon in the background.
From all your clubbing?
Yeah, it is from all my clubbing. I can't even imagine going to a nightclub at this age.
Me either. I feel like it would be too loud for me, absolutely for sure.
There probably are nightclubs for people my age now, but it's a bunch of people sitting around playing tax and talking about, you know, how they used to run to Old Man Johnson's store with all they had was a stick and an old tire that they used to run down the street with. And in my day, you could buy a sack of candy for a nickel. I think you could. No, it was like 5 cents each for a candy, right?
Yeah, but there was also penny candy.
Oh yeah, that's true. I think we might be old now. Well, at least I am. I'm older than her. So definitely feeling it. Hi guys, been a long while since we've seen you guys. Thought we should do an update. It was super nice out today.
For us.
Yeah.
Some other people are gonna think it's freezing.
For us, it was nice. It was 11 degrees Celsius, but for this time of year, that's pretty good. A lot of our snow started to melt off.
Yeah, you
can kind of see that there's.
Except for it's
melting
again.
Yeah, in a day or two, we have another big dump of snow coming, like about a foot and a half, or.
Is it?
Oh no, it's not that much.
It's 15 centimeters, however much that is.
Half a foot. Still.
You know what's funny is that it will say that, and that measurement wise isn't very much, but then you go outside and your boot is full of, and when you have to shovel 3 times.
Yeah, it feels like a lot.
It's not going to be here forever. Okay.
Yeah, so they had snow in Ontario the last couple days, 90 degrees in Texas. No, I can't imagine. I don't think it's like too hot is I think almost worse than cold, to be honest. Michigan checking in, more snow, they say. Yeah, they're calling for snow for us in a couple of days, which usually means that system will flow its way down into the United States at some point. I know my sister in Colorado, she claims that she gets our weather a couple days after the fact. She's like, if you guys, she says y'all, but she's like, y'all get snow. I know in a couple of days I'm getting snow. So we'll see. But I guess Kay in Melbourne, Australia is probably not worried about snow. Is there any part of Australia that ever sees weather that's that cold? I don't know if they have like a really high peak. I should know better than that. I just imagine it to be either a bunch of people surfing and really nice, beautiful cities, or desert that would kill you. And then as you're dying, a kangaroo comes up and like takes your head and pounds it into the sand and punches you in the face.
Kangaroos are a little brutal.
I think kangaroos are rough.
Yeah.
I don't think they'd be a friendly. I think when they're small, they're probably
they're like
cute.
Some crazy buff animal. Like that's not
yeah,
normal.
They're kind of jacked. I don't know.
I thought it was photoshopped the first time I saw somebody getting chased by a kangaroo. I thought that somebody had photoshopped that. I just can imagine the cute little face and.
Oh yeah.
I guess we have one of the small ones. I mean, we don't have them here, but like in our zoo.
Oh, Kay says they do get snow, but not as severe as Canada. I figured they might, because they're getting pretty close to the South Pole. You know, maybe not close enough to really worry about bad weather, but I would say the winters here have not really been that bad the last couple of years, knock on wood.
We're not completely out yet.
Kangaroos will kick you in the walnuts. I don't think I'd expect that to happen. If I was like, oh, hey, honey, look, a kangaroo, and then suddenly its little boot comes up.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, you would laugh. You'd probably laugh. I don't think I'd be very happy.
Freaked right out because you got this giant thing attacking you. So
yeah,
this is a recent thing. I wish that I knew. I didn't realize that they were so aggressive. Oh my goodness, that's insane.
I did see some. I am obviously back from Italy now, and the Italian trip was beautiful. Io passeggiare in Italia è molto bene. It was very pretty, and the Amalfi Coast was stunning. I did see some comments from people saying that they went to Napoli, which is Naples, and they said, oh, what a dump of a city. There's graffiti and stuff. It's like if you imagined a really big city from the 1800s that's still there, and it's sort of been, it looks like a video game company got a hold of it and made it like, I don't know. It looks a little gritty. Like an 80s Judge Dredd kind of movie or something. I don't know. It's hard to explain. There's all these beautiful old 1800s buildings that have just been kind of let down. And you think, gosh, if I owned that building, I'd be painting that main floor and making it look great because it's just some stunning architecture there. But to each their own. That said, the Amalfi Coast was beautiful. And Capri and the people, everybody was friendly. Some of you asked why Melissa was not there. Couple reasons.
Well, you guys, first off, you want to start a conspiracy? Go traveling alone. This is almost a proof of life video. But
yeah, I'm not Weekend at Bernie'sing her right now.
My gosh. Well, first, I mean, me and the kids had school, and then we discussed if I would want to go on that trip. And the truth is that there's a lot of stairs, there's a lot of walking, and my knees are not great. They're not terrible, but I know that walk would have hurt me for sure. That would not be good.
The lemon walk.
But there was a lot of it and also I would have not been a lot of fun. I'm glad, Alexander, I did not go because especially the driving too and all the windy roads, and I would have been stomach sick, complaining about my knees. A real treat to have along. So. And
then you add a deadly volcano or two in the mix.
Well, I'm not a fan of volcanoes, but that's not the part that bothered me the most. I'm not a fan of, I guess, all of the.
It was worth it if you can.
Death that happened.
Oh yeah,
that part I didn't want.
She didn't want to go visit a place where a lot of people died. And I mainly went because I wanted to see Pompeii. I've always wanted to see Pompeii.
Yeah, it's supposed to be amazing, and the architecture is amazing, and I think history is extremely important. But it wasn't a destination that I want to go, and I also knew that I would not be a pleasure to have along.
You know, it was really something, though, to walk on streets where Romans walked 2,000 years ago or farther ago. Longer ago. It was just, to walk on the same sidewalks that Romans walked on, to be in the houses of the gladiators, and to see the graffiti on the walls that kids were drawing of soldiers and gladiators and stuff that they thought was neat. And yeah, it was just, you can imagine how lively. I would say that the one thing that I took away from visiting Pompeii is that it feels like even though all those people perished there, there's still a vibrant feeling of it being a lively city, even though it's emptied and void of people living there. It kind of you could feel, when even if you go to a carnival just before it opens or something and you feel like, oh, this is going to be something. It had kind of like that energy of there's a lot going on. And it felt kind of like a happy sort of vibe, like probably not for the people in the last moments, but I think it was probably a very beautiful place to live. It would have been right on the ocean when it was there. It's a beautiful part of the world. And so tropical and, lemons growing. Mind you, they didn't know you could eat the lemons at that time. They weren't sure if they were poisonous or not, so they just didn't touch them. I wonder how many people tried it, and they just sat there and watched them. Like, they probably made a face and they were like, oh no, he's going to die.
Can you imagine when you're trying something for the first time and you're waiting to see if that person kicks off or if they're just fine?
Yeah, probably you'd have to be pretty low on the list of villagers, I think, to be the one. Yeah, try this orange fruit. It's very nice. Well, sure, it's fair. Oh, is it okay to eat? Oh, go ahead, take a bite. Anyway, they didn't eat lemons at that time, but there's lemon trees growing all over the place.
So, sorry, this is off topic, but Philip wrote, "Good day from Blue Mountains, west of Sydney, and yes, a fully grown red kangaroo can be over 6 feet." Now, I don't have my glasses and I can't read the computer well, and it says, hold on, they can cause damage. Oh, now I have to remember what I thought it said. Oh, they use coarse language. That's what I read.
I'm sure they do. It's an Australian kangaroo.
It can cause damage.
It's going to have a few... when it's not laying bricks during the week, it's fighting people at the bars on the weekend.
I had to take a really closer look.
Anyways, not been to Australia yet. That said, it's always nice to have Melissa with me. But somebody said, one day I wouldn't mind traveling like that, even if by myself. I had a really good time. I went with a tour group called Just You. I was not sponsored by them, but I'm giving them a shout out because they were absolutely lovely people. It was mainly for older sort of retired folks. And that was fine by me. I didn't mind that at all. I met some wonderful people. There was a former Harvard professor there that ended up going to Cambridge and retired in Scotland. There are a lot of retired professors and teachers, people that used to work in the wine industry selling wine wholesale and stuff. So there's just a really interesting crowd of people. So everybody I spent time with was well educated and interesting, and it was a wonderful video and wonderful experience.
I love hanging out with people like that have stories of life. They've lived a little.
Oh, and they were all so polite and friendly, and you go for lunch with them, and you kind of make friends on the way and stuff. So it was great. So if you are a solo traveler like I was, and you're looking for a tour company, I went with just you, and I had a really good time. The tour guide was really friendly and nice.
The people you went with were nice.
Yes, they were very nice. They were just a really good group all together. So I would recommend it. And I would also recommend, I think about this a lot, that when my grandpa, before he passed away, he was living in his house, and he still had really good health up until his mid-80s. And he always wanted to go visit Germany. And I said, Grandpa, just go. Just get out there and go. And I don't really want to go by myself. And he never did. And I wish he would have. And I always think about that for myself too, that if there's things that I want to see, or if Melissa's not crazy about seeing it, that you just got to go live your life.
He shouldn't stop and not see it because I don't want to go. That would be awful. I can't even, you don't want to have regrets like that, especially if you have the opportunity that you can go. So.
Yeah, no, it was just a really, really, really lovely time. And I have a lot of love for the Italian people after visiting there. Everybody was so cordial and nice. And let me tell you, they know how to pour a glass of wine over there too. They, when you order a glass of wine, and everything was super cheap over there. It was like €4 for a glass of wine, and they would fill that thing right up to the tippity top till it was like you could barely move it without it spilling over. It's none of this nonsense like when you go to a restaurant here and then they have a glass and they fill that much of it up. Like, I don't think they care about ounces there. They're just like, here's half the bottle. If it'll fit in the glass, you can have it. They were just super nice. Anyway, maybe it was after that glass of wine I started thinking everybody was super nice. No, they were nice. It was just a really good trip. And it definitely paid to have learned a little bit of Italian too. And hello from New Zealand. We see lots of people on. Gosh, it has been just a really busy period of time. We are doing sort of a little mini renovation series coming up, not on a house, but on a condo. That series will be coming out not for a little while, not until probably May, but we're going to start the work on it pretty soon, just to see if we can convert a condo unit into a nice looking space. There's a whole pile of storage unit clear out videos coming up. I've been really busy buying storage lockers and filming that. And some very interesting surprises came out of those, so I hope you're going to enjoy all those videos.
And I did enjoy my gift. I thought I was wearing it, actually.
I said that if you want to see what it is, you're going to have to tune into the live stream. Do you want to go grab it?
Oh, that's so funny. I just said what it was. Yeah, I can go grab it.
Okay, yeah. So Melissa is going to go grab the gift that I got her when I was in Sorrento.
I just said what it was.
Yeah, but they haven't seen it yet, though. And hello to everybody out there. Muskoka Hidework says, I do like the storage videos. It's nice to get a feel for what you look for. I feel, I'll be honest with you, I'm mixed emotions about the storage units because, in order for you to get or to bid on a storage locker, it means that somebody had to lose it. However, the storage units that are here, they try for 3 months to get a hold of the people, to try and get them to come get their stuff. They offer for them to get their family photos and things. And so at that point, if nobody's come after 3 months, I find usually what it is, it's either, sometimes it's a bad situation and they're unable to. In other cases, they've just simply moved away and they don't care and they don't want to deal with it. And we've run into a few units that were like that. I suppose it's no different in a way that if you're doing a house clear out, there's a reason why there's a house clear out. And in my case, when I do those house clear outs, it's usually because somebody passed away. So a little bittersweet with doing those sort of units. At the end of the day, we do donate a lot of stuff to charity, and we do try and at least make our money back or find a few finds that'll help pay for me buying these units. But somebody has to do it, and so we're out there getting this stuff circulated and getting those storage units cleared out. and then off to the next person to rent something out. By the way, Melissa has returned, and Melissa's back. So this is what I picked up for her.
Oh, my hand is all, I don't know if you guys can see it.
So that came from Sorrento, Italy. It has
Is it focused?
has a blue sort of like Swarovski. I think it's not sort of, it is Swarovski crystal and silver. But I thought it was just really pretty with the swirl and the blue and all that. So.
And a lot of my jewelry that I do wear ends up being rings. Though I wear this one a lot because my dad gave it to me. So since I don't have him anymore, it reminds me of him. But this suits all of my jewelry, all of my everything. He chose well. But the only thing I really wanted back from there was Alexander's, so.
Oh.
It's true.
No.
It's true.
John says that him and his late mom lost 5 storage units.
Oh.
You know, Melissa's dad had 2 big storage units that he lost as well.
Like those big semi-trailer kind of.
And I don't know about your situation, John. I would say that with Melissa's dad, it was almost more of a burden to have those units for him. That it was in a different city from where he lived. A lot of his paycheck was having to go to pay for those units. And there was no place for him to move it to or to store it that wasn't going to keep costing him money. And it was just an added expense, years and years and years of frustration and stress. And so by him not having a unit, it actually ended up being a much better thing for him. Although he did lose it in the end, it was freeing for him. And he moved on pretty quick. He was happy-go-lucky guy. Didn't have to worry about it.
It's pretty upsetting initially. Like I think a lot of people, not everyone, but you'll end up associating what's in that unit with proof of what you've done with your life. But the truth is that that's just stuff in a box at the end of the day. And it's almost like that rule where you're supposed to put your stuff away, and if you haven't seen it for a year, well, if you shoved it in that storage unit, you could probably do without it. It's just hard because a lot of memories can be attached to things. But in the end, it ended up being a lot more freeing, and all of us were a lot happier once it was gone.
Yeah, a lot of those units are quite expensive to rent now, even just for a small unit. So it could really take a big dent out of. John says, yeah, that's very true. It is a relief for some people to get their units gone. The nice thing about those, when you do a storage unit clear out, you actually sign paperwork saying that you will return any personal paperwork or family photos that you find in there. So I know that the storage units, the people that run the storage facilities try really hard to get the people their most important things back. That's usually their paperwork and their photos. And so we're always very careful to find that stuff and give it back. That said, you hope you're going to find something cool that'll help pay for the unit and pay for your time, because it's not cheap to haul a truck and the gas and the expense and the driving around and stuff. So just like when we do a house clear out, you have to find some things that will hopefully make sense for you. And actually, it's almost exactly like doing a house clear out. When we find family photos, we set that aside too.
Yeah.
In some sad instances, there is no family. In Betty Jones' case, there wasn't any immediate family for us to give that stuff to, so we did set it aside. But
she really lived, like
that woman lived a life.
You didn't feel bad because I mean, about getting rid of anything. I mean, we donated a lot of stuff because it was somebody's like really well lived life. Like it felt like a gift that we were able to be a part of that experience for sure.
Yeah, it was, I don't know. It's one of those, when we emptied out her house and you saw that she lived 2 lives. One is sort of a demure, quiet piano teacher, and the other one is a hippie, gallivanting musician traveling across Europe and living in Hawaii at 5-star hotels. That woman lived like a secret agent. But yeah, she went to Hawaii every year, and yeah, she had some things that she definitely loved to do. And that's, I think, at the end of the day, and I remember when my grandma was 102 when she passed away. And she went from having a house full of things to having an apartment with some stuff. And at the very end, she was in sort of a care hospital, like a hospice. And all she had was her hospital bed and her photo album. That was the most important thing, was her family and the memories and the people that she loved. And I never forget that no matter what a person owns in your life, the things that matter most are the family and your friends, the people that you spend time with, and the laughter and the joy. Those are the things that matter most. Things come and go. Yeah, I said to my son the other day, like, I'd rather be happy living in if we lived in a small trailer or something, if we were all happy and loved, that's better than being sad in a big house or something. And so I think that if you keep your perspective straight and you look at the things that really matter to you, and surround yourself with people that you love to spend time with, then it's always really good. Meredith says she's been paying for a storage unit for over 10 years since packing up her mom's house. I know it's there and need to get on to emptying it. 10 years. Wow. John says we're not taking anything with us when we die, are we? No, we're not. That's the thing. That's one thing that struck me when I was in Italy, is that you see that those people in Pompeii lived their lives. Somebody had a bigger house, somebody had a smaller house. Somebody had a nicer fresco painted on their wall, and all of that meant the world to them then. And the lifespan was a little shorter back then too. So you're thinking these people had to establish themselves in 40, 50, 60 years. They may be gone. And that life just comes and goes, and thousands of years pass, and we're just here for a moment. And I'll be honest, like the thought of owning a bunch of stuff, and I've seen many people over the last little while write me and say, like, why don't you open up another antique store? It didn't bring me joy anymore. It didn't bring me joy to have the hassle of owning all that stuff. Mm-hmm. I enjoy finding things that are hidden, and I enjoy finding things of value and reselling stuff, but and meeting people, but I don't enjoy owning a lot of knickknacks and stuff. And that store was just packed to the rafters. It actually was giving me more anxiety than anything. So I don't really have if I was going to do a business, I think I said before, I would probably go more down the general store avenue that we were sort of leaning our store towards near the end, with the locally made honeys and teas and coffees and things like that we were selling out of the shop and being part of a community. Melissa and I were talking, I think that was even today, we drove by. That was
today.
and we're like, I wonder if we could just find like a field and set up like a farmer's market in summer or something.
Help local farmers and businesses and everything be able to...
Yeah, I would say that's the thing I miss most. There's two things I miss about having that business. One was being part of that community, and being part of the community was everything from restoring the building that we were in. And those of you that have been on the channel for a while saw me restore a heritage store that was kind of dilapidated. And we really miss being part of the community and trying to better community. And I miss the suppliers and the customers, like the vendors when they'd come in, and our local honey producers and our local hot sauce suppliers and stuff, that they made it here in our city. And when we sold that stuff here, it just felt really good to be supporting locals and supporting the community. And I think that it's important to have businesses that are around offering these sorts of things, because there's wonderful craftspeople in our cities and communities. So I don't know how I could get back involved in something like that. Or if I'd want the hassle of it right now, but
I think so. There's two things. One person said, "I'm surprised that you sold the building instead of renting it." The thing with renting it is that you still have the property tax, which with a commercial building was crazy. But also you constantly have that upkeep and the extra bills. You don't just have money coming in; you have something coming in that barely covers your bills, and then you have extra bills on top of that. So the renting it,
if anybody's owned a rental property, you know that you get your rent check, and then suddenly like the furnace goes or something. Yeah. Like, well, there goes the rent check.
Well, so plus we were making that building work, so we had to put the power in, and like we had a lot of big bills with that building to make it functional again, to make it be able to work for someone else. So
especially for a restaurant, which it is now, we had to put 220 power in the building. But we did it. It's all gone, all done. Yeah. And it's still in good hands. The ice cream parlor that's in there is doing great. The restaurant that's in there is still open and doing well, so they're doing fine.
Yeah.
I just didn't want to really be a landlord. That wasn't my intention, to be a landlord in life. My intention was to go on adventures and have fun, and I'm kind of, at the end of the day, just a big kid. I grew up watching like Indiana Jones and the Goonies and stuff, and I wanted to be one of those kids going on an adventure in the Goonies. Maybe not short round getting shot at with Dr. Jones.
Oh my gosh.
But I want to be more like Mikey, like in the Goonies, and trying to figure out what the treasure was, and finding coins and I don't know, just neat stuff. That was, and I am dating myself with that reference, yes. But that's the era that I'm from. And young me in a movie theater watching those movies was just, thought, ooh. And I didn't, it's not like we had pirate treasure around here in Canada, but we did have people that would, and I don't know why they did it, but like in the 80s, we had a forest behind the apartments that we were living in, and people just go throw their garbage in the woods. It was the weirdest thing. Like people were, it's not like we didn't have garbage pickup. Just some people were super lazy that had backed onto the woods and they would just chuck their bag of trash back there. And I'd go rummage around and find, like sterling silver spoons or old toys that I could fix up. And that's how I kind of started doing it when I was probably, 7 or 8 years old, looking through garbage and going to garage sales and trying to find things that I could fix up. Anthony says, I always thought I could be the Fratellis. All of them at once? Do you have split personalities? Which one? Which Fratelli? There's the opera singer one. There's the mama. Anyway. Laura says, I've heard so many Goonies references lately. I'm going to have to go watch it. You should always want to watch the Goonies. Yeah. I haven't watched it in a while because I have the whole movie memorized after a childhood of, any time that there was a rainy day or if I had a cold or something, my mom would put on the Goonies and I'd have like a hot chocolate or something and likely peanut butter toast. And you'd sit there. What did you guys watch when you watched the Flintstones? Is anybody out there?
What you said? What
did you guys eat?
Yeah.
Was there a type of food that you guys would eat if the Flintstones was on?
I know what
I'm going to say something in terms of what it was that me and my sister independently both would have at lunchtime. Oh, Fruity Pebble says one. No. While watching the Flintstones, and it usually came on around lunchtime. Oh, no food allowed in your living room. Okay. That was after school for them. We had grilled cheese and tomato soup.
Oh, that's what I had.
When the Flintstones was on?
Yeah, it was grilled cheese, but I don't remember tomato soup. It was the vegetable soup.
And I would have thought that was a thing for us up here in Canada versus in the United States. But yeah. Do you want to? Oh, there we go. Thanks.
Oh, I'm still.
Oh, okay.
Oh, no.
Yeah. Oh, Dave said he used to watch Spider-Man reruns at lunch and Flintstones too. Grilled cheese tomato soup goes best with Bob Barker and Price is Right. Oh, okay. I guess I had it wrong. But yeah, Heather said she grew up watching Flintstones and having tomato soup and grilled cheese. So nothing wrong with that. And it's got to be like the Kraft singles, I think.
Ooh, cinnamon toast.
Cinnamon toast is good too.
Now I feel like cinnamon toast.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't know. Let's see. Bread rolls in Germany with soup. I could see that. TT not DT says, love that meal. Bronto burgers and Flintstones. I thought they had a giant rack of ribs that they put on the car and it tipped the car over.
Yeah, they did.
Oh, Dawn says she can't do canned tomato soup because she had it once when she was sick. That's funny how you associate certain foods. Abigail does not eat nachos because she ate nachos one time and got sick after.
No, I think the melted cheese makes her not feel good.
I don't know what it is, but she can't. My kid can't eat nachos.
I got sick once after eating a hot dog, and I went vegetarian for a year. It was so bad.
Where was the hot dog from?
I don't know. Our house. It was because I had the flu and I thought I should eat a hot dog.
I don't get this. So you got sick from a hot dog and you went vegetarian. I remember you went vegetarian for a while, but the thing that broke you from vegetarianism was, do you want to tell her? She felt like a hot dog.
You know, when you're walking up to like one of those, and it wasn't even like a good hot dog. It was like a not good
like a hot dog stand
cart outside of like a Home Depot kind of place. And I was like, cart hot dog.
Yeah,
it's not good.
You got thrown off of meat because of a bad hot dog and drawn back in.
Oh no, that's not what it was. It was because I watched one of those shows. I forgot, and then I watched one of those don't eat animal shows when I had the flu, and then I couldn't eat meat for a year, and then I went back because of a hot dog. Yeah.
Oh, somebody said they got sick at the same pizza place 3 times in a row. That might just be the pizza place. Oh. IKEA does world-renowned veg hot dogs. I didn't know that. We occasionally
I wonder
do.
If they have that here. Joe, are you from? Are you from around us?
I don't know. I'll try it out. Chili dogs are good. Yeah, chili dogs are good. Robin says they had chili when they were pregnant. Unfortunately, had morning sickness. Couldn't touch chili for many years.
Yeah.
Are you still nervous around chili, Robin? If you see a bowl of chili, does it make you kind of question your judgments? Oh, hot dog carts were great, says Torlak.
I think it's the chopped onion smell. The different, like between the barbecued smelling hot dogs and the chopped onions. Yeah, I don't think I can eat pizza anymore. We ate too much pizza. Too much pizza.
When you have kids, and you have a lot of kids, and they have their friends over, the cheapest go-to thing to order is a bunch of pizzas. I don't know about you guys, but it's always
so
like,
much.
Oh, we have got a bunch of friends coming over. Well, there's 13 teenagers. I guess we're ordering a bunch of pizzas, and they're happy as a clam.
Yeah.
Well, we got 3 kids with 3 different groups of friends that are coming over. So, we kind of are over the whole pizza thing. Mind you, at some point, I'll probably feel like a pizza again, but I don't really feel like it.
I can't even imagine eating pizza. Oh, just the other day we were talking about eating pizza, and Alexander saved me and recommended something else. I thought that too. Pizza was something I thought I could eat forever because there's so many different types. It's like a bunch of different types of food. I was wrong that you definitely can have too much at some point.
Cracked Antique says, when are you coming back to Colorado? Not sure. I don't have any plans for travel just yet. We're figuring that. This summer, I think we're going to stick around here a little bit and enjoy the backyard. Melissa's got plans for I think tripled the size of the garden last year.
I am so excited for it. I have to hold back. I bought rose bushes. We can't really plant here until May long weekend, and because of our frost date. And I have roses growing next to us because I bought them too early.
It's true. They're sitting in a pot by the door waiting to go out, but you can see there's still snow on the ground out there.
Yeah, it's rock hard, that dirt.
But it will be summer before we know it. And this summer, we do have plans to do some, I wouldn't say renovations, but some sort of upgrading around the property. We are certainly going to be working on the garden if Melissa will let me in there to help. She's got her ways about her. She likes to go out there and just get her done. And
I love gardening so much. But I'm a little nervous. I planted asparagus in the middle of my garden, but this will be its 3rd year. It's not doing great. Let me start by saying that.
Well, it's not dead.
No, it's not dead. But that's about how good it's doing, because it's not dead as how good it's doing. But my aunt said, just make sure you never plant it in the garden because it'll take over. Well, darn, that's too late. So, I mean, if we had to have a crop take over our yard, though, we like asparagus. Yeah. I'm okay with a field of asparagus.
They'd be prickly to walk on in bare feet. If your grass was all asparagus. If your whole lawn was asparagus things coming up.
I don't think they're that pokey. It would just slip off.
KS and Quist says, went to their first estate sale and they're disappointed the prices were about 50% of brand new retail. Yeah, sometimes you go to those estate sales and they're not great. You get all excited and you're like, this is more than what the store would be. Do you have Saskatoon berries growing in your yard?
No, but I want to plant some.
They would grow here.
We have raspberries, and I think mainly just raspberries came up. I planted some cherry bushes. We also have 3 cherry trees, and we have plum trees that haven't had plums on them yet.
I know we had 1 plum last year.
Oh yeah.
I ate it.
No, I think there was more than 1 because I had 1 too.
Oh yeah, I brought them in the house.
It was not good.
Yeah.
They will be good when they're proper, but.
What's your favorite flower? Joe wants to know.
Oh, I have a problem. I have a lot of favorite flowers now. I'm not peonies. Oh no, they're peonies right now. I like lilies, peonies, but peonies smell so good.
I think
roses.
I like any flower that's perennial, pretty much. It's gonna keep coming back year after year. But I do like lilies as well.
We had so much snow on either side of our walkway, and it just started melting off recently. Like up to my chin's worth of the pile. And when it melted off along the walkway, there was a pansy underneath there, like a pansy flower, and there was a bloom on it.
Yeah, underneath all the snow.
I don't understand. That one right now is my favorite because it's the first.
Renee says, don't harvest the asparagus until at least the 3rd year. Melissa loves the smell of lavender too. Somebody said they love lavender.
Not all lavender. Some lavender smells a little bit like cat.
Dave says his wife likes mint. Yeah. Or
Oh,
tulips.
die.
Tulips.
I love tulips too.
Yeah.
I love them all. I have a problem.
But I think we do want to get busy planting more flowers and kind of just.
If I just plant a little bit every year, I think that's how it goes. You do a little bit every year, and eventually you have something amazing.
Yeah, the ants love the peonies for sure. They're always covered in ants.
You know, so this last time I picked a whole bunch and I brought them in the house, and somebody told me just to take that peony and give it a good let it down. The peony survived, and there were no ants in the flowers. I don't understand it.
Yeah, somebody said, I'd watch you plant in veggie garden. I think either on Melissa's channel or perhaps on mine, we'll probably do an update when we start doing the garden this year.
I should start filming again. I haven't filmed in like a year.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Yeah, and a lot of people would watch so those of you that watch my channel, you're so supportive. I will go out and see the squirrel, we'll go feed some birds, and everybody's like there with me. I appreciate that so much.
Yeah. Melissa we don't have wild animals around here. We have outdoor pets now.
Yeah. Now I have added a blue jay.
Yeah, it's funny. We'll just see like, I know which squirrels are our squirrels, which is so weird, but.
Peonies have a scent. I mean, the ones I have, they are so nice. It's not too strong. I used to really like lilies, but I think they like the stargazer lilies, but they smell a little bit like hot dog water.
What? No, they don't.
Yes, they do.
They don't smell like hot dog water.
Next time you guys see a stargazer lily and I've ruined it for you.
First off, why are you boiling hot dogs? They don't deserve to be boiled. They should be like barbecued, or they should be pan fried. That's how you take care of.
I said hello. Just if you click on, it's just Melissa Archbold.
Hot dog water.
It's so good.
Why is the theme hot dogs today? How did that happen? How did we even start talking about hot dogs? Oh, because you said that we were talking about foods that make you sick. I think somebody said they couldn't eat chili. I don't know what it was.
Oh, my last batch of chili was kind of a stinker. We didn't have the right.
Fine. We all ate it.
So usually when I make chili, people are like, "Oh, it's so good," but this time I didn't even want to eat it. It was okay. It was just.
Paula says she can imagine a squirrel knocking on the window, telling you to come out.
Maybe a little bit like that.
Not the squirrels. She goes to the tree and they come down and call her. Like they come down and squawk, and then
same with the chickadees. So I'll go outside and the chickadees will fly up to me to check if I like have anything for them already, and they'll land on me and check out and see if I have seeds in my hand.
You know. We heard a loud thump last year, speaking of birds and stuff, and we couldn't figure out what it was. And then months later, we saw there was the outline of what looked like a whole fried chicken thrown at one of the glasses upstairs. It was little.
Still up there.
It was probably like a blue jay or something.
We can't watch
but
it
it's just
off.
like, it looks like, the wings and the body, like greasy smear mark. So, and there was no bird on the ground. No. So it was probably just very surprised.
Greasy chicken weird smear on my window.
Yeah, it looks like if you took a rotisserie chicken, a little one, and just whipped it at our window.
Not whipped it, but...
Oh, it's up at a height. It had to get up there somehow, catapulted. Anyway, I imagine there was a very frustrated bird that was like, what was that? What was that?
Oh my gosh.
And no, they weren't dead because there was no bird.
No.
We would have noticed because it would have been on our front step where it hit, and there was no bird there.
Can't reach it. Every time I walk by that window, it's so annoying to me. That or my front door, I can tell where the kids have been looking out because there's like a forehead and a nose mark. Yeah, but not as bad as that.
John says, "Is this a cooking channel?" No, don't eat a bird that's hit your window. I don't think.
Ew.
The 3-second rule doesn't account for roadkill or window kill, I think. But yeah, gosh. Okay, what else has been going on around here? I'm trying to think. It's been...
No.
I mean, basically, we're just preparing for spring, preparing for summer. We're getting the garden ready. Last year, I really focused on the lawn, trying to get that to come in. If anybody out there has tried growing grass, and then sometimes you're like, there, it looks great. And then the next summer, it came up and it was very sparse. You okay?
Yeah, I think I might have the hiccups.
Is it all this talking about chili and hot dogs and stuff? Okay.
What was it that Jason said somebody told him to get rid of the hiccups?
Oh, to say I'm not a fish. He said it really works. If you have the hiccups, just say, I'm not a fish, I'm not a fish, I'm not a fish over and over again.
Somebody's going to tell Jason, he'll be like, why did they share that on a live feed?
Yeah.
But I think it's because you're blowing all your air out.
What?
I'm not a fish, I'm not
Joe
a
says
fish.
he's heard that in the UK, I'm not a fish.
What?
Where is that coming from?
But I think it's because it's just a spasm. So to be fair, I haven't tried it. So, and my hiccups are already gone.
The last time I saw our friend Adam, I went to Ontario to visit him and go hang out with him. This is a few years back now. But I had a ginger ale while descending on the airplane, and something happened to me, and I had the hiccups the entire time I was there. I had the hiccups nonstop for, what was I gone, 3 days or something?
Oh, Alexander, that was so bad.
I actually tried going to the hospital, but the hospital I went to was closed, and I was having the only thing that would stop it would be if I drank like a gallon of water, and just for maybe 30 minutes I'd have relief of not having hiccups. Yeah, it's brutal. Dave said he had the hiccups for 2 days. You don't realize how tough that is on your system. And so when you hear that people had the hiccups for like, there's some guy had the hiccups for like 30 years. How did he live?
Oh, he must have been in pain.
I guess if it was just like a small spasm, it would be annoying. But I had like bad spasmy hiccups. That was brutal. I don't wish that on anybody.
You know where I want to go?
Oh, friend drank pickle juice.
Manchester, UK.
You want to go to Manchester?
You know why?
Why?
We have wild parakeets.
What? Wild parakeets?
What?
That sounds like something that the Victorians would have accidentally released. Yeah, I could see the British doing that. Like, we brought back some parakeets, and then they get loose. And now there's wild parakeets. I was surprised with how moderate the climate is in the United Kingdom. And from what I understood when I was in London, is that if you drew a line across where it is on the parallel, it should be pretty much as cold as Canada. Like, it should be cold. But they are very mild, and it's because, oddly, the cold water from the Arctic, the flow pushes the warm air and warm water towards England. And that was their concern, that if the ice starts disappearing up there, then the climate could very much change in England. It was neat. They had like little palm trees and stuff when I got out of the airport. And I'm glad that I went when I did, because the Heathrow airport was shut down last week. They had a big fire at one of their, I guess, mechanical rooms or something, and the airport was shut down. I think it's up and running again now, but that would have sucked. Maybe on the way back, if I would have got an extra couple of days in England, that would have been all right. I would have gone and done some stuff. But yeah, that's a big airport to have shut down. And I was surprised, if you're from Europe, this won't surprise you, but if you're not from Europe, and you've traveled around North America a fair bit, we're used to, I guess, when the plane lands, for the most part, they put the little walkway and attach it to the plane, and you walk directly into the airport, into the terminal. But in most places I traveled in Europe, you land on the runway, sometimes really far away from the terminal, and they have a bus waiting for you, and it comes and gets you. That was really different. You kind of felt like a 1950s celebrity, like walking down the steps. You're like, I've arrived, I'm here. Yeah, it was just really, really different experience. When we got off the plane in London, and they had all these buses waiting there, and it took like, I don't know, 20 minutes to get to the terminal by bus. It was a really long ways away. I was very surprised.
Yeah, they were talking about whistling ducks. You better believe I'm Googling that after. Now everybody's telling me what kind of birds they have. Man, you guys. I feel like I would be that person that you guys could just post it on YouTube. One of those little cameras that sits on your bird feeder from all over the world.
Somebody say there's whistling ducks.
Yeah, it was called a black-bellied whistling duck.
Weird.
Yeah, that's cool.
Central Texas.
We have like mallards and...
Does it whistle the Andy Griffith theme? Like walking along.
Oh my gosh.
That's the kind of duck I'd want there. There goes Mr. Duck. Howdy, Mr. Duck. And he just like nods while he keeps whistling and walking by. I never knew that I needed a whistling duck in our yard, but now I feel like I need a whistling duck.
We had a laughing duck. Howard.
Oh, at your farm?
Yeah, like actually.
Oh, okay.
And then we ate it.
Let's see. I didn't hear them whistle. Well, that's too bad.
It whistles Dixie.
Yeah, John says, did you see the plane that landed and flipped over? Yeah, well, I didn't see it in person, but yeah, I saw it on
Yeah,
the
it was
news.
insane.
Yeah, it looked like the guy just landed really hard and it broke the wheel off and it tipped over. And it was, thankfully, everybody lived that was on that thing. That's enough to scare. Melissa already a bit of a nervous flyer. Yeah, have enough of
A
that type of
bit.
stuff.
You guys, I'm terrified. I have to really want to go somewhere to get on an airplane.
Yeah, this is true.
Even then, I have that instant regret, like when you're going up in a roller coaster, unless you love roller coasters and you realize you've made a terrible mistake. That's me on an airplane.
Melissa also gets frightened going on Ferris wheels, which I find relaxing.
You are crazy.
No, okay.
Listen, it's not a normal Ferris wheel. It rocks. Like, I mean,
No, any
it's like
Ferris
an
wheel.
old antique Ferris wheel.
Any Ferris wheel is relaxing. Who's with me? Are Ferris wheels relaxing? We're just like, oh, look at all the people. And then you're like, here we go again.
I screamed on it once.
I could sleep on a Ferris wheel.
I was with my sister-in-law and she's, my brother's name is James. She's like, James would not be okay on this. And then she looked over at me and she said, are you okay? And then I started screaming and she was like, oh, okay. Okay.
Okay,
They
so
didn't let me off.
who likes Ferris wheels and who hates Ferris wheels? My fear is that the Ferris wheel will stop and I'll be at the top.
That happened to
Yeah,
you.
that happened to me and Abigail,
Abigail.
actually, yeah. But they have a way of getting it down.
Once I witnessed what happens when they get stuck at the top and they have a manual way of bringing it down, I thought that they would release the brake and it would just go, like the weight at the top would, make its way down. But
I feel like it's 50-50 right now with people who like Ferris wheels and people who are terrified of them.
no, what you mean is those of us that are right. No.
Oh, yeah. No, Melissa does not like
No,
heights.
that's true. I am terrified of heights.
Yeah, she doesn't like heights.
Maybe that might be. Hold on. Maybe you've unlocked my fear of planes.
Melissa has a fear of heights and a fear of small, confined spaces, claustrophobia as well. And
Yeah.
so I shouldn't have been surprised that she did not want to go on a gondola up to the top of a mountain with me.
That was bad times. I mean, some of them are okay. The giant ones that are packed full of people, I'm okay with those ones, okay-ish. But those tiny little ones that you can fit like 4 people in, no thank you, I'm good.
We did the trip up to the Mount Stanzerhorn in Switzerland shortly after Melissa and I were married.
Yeah.
And that was, they had these, if you've not been to Switzerland, I'll explain it. It's really pretty. It's very scenic. There's white swans in the towns. It looks like you're in a Lego village, life-size Lego village. People are out washing their sidewalks, drinking at cafes. The buildings are all perfectly clean. This is in Lucerne. One of the cleanest cities I've ever been in was probably Lucerne, and they were washing their sidewalks with like
They washed their
a
sidewalks.
broom and soapy water in the morning. I was like,
Yeah.
this is crazy. It was like theme park clean, or even cleaner than a theme park.
Yeah.
But we took the trip up to the Stanzerhorn when we were there, and that's been a mountain that people have gone up for a long time. So the old system of getting up there were these really sketchy train cars that were built on an angle. So it's so steep that they actually built the train cars like on that angle to kind of match the incline. So you get on this thing that's like shaped like that and it goes up the mountain. And it was a little sketchy because you're like, what if this thing, how do they stop it if it starts going backwards?
It only went halfway and then you get on a gondola.
Yeah, but it used to go all the way to the top.
Yeah.
So you get up halfway and then they had a proper cable car, like a gondola that would take you up to the top. And yes, I blew the big horn that was up there, the, what's it called?
I don't know, but I think
The Alpenhorn. Yeah, the big, anyway, they had that there. And up at the very top of the mountain, you could see where the train used to continue all the way up. And you're like, no human should have been on that because it's like going straight up. It's crazy that people used to go on that thing like in the 1920s or 30s, some sketchy little train going up the top. But they made it somehow.
That's the steepest cogwheel train in the world.
Oh, well, that doesn't surprise me. It looked like it was pretty... I don't mind heights, but I was even like a little... I don't think maybe we shouldn't...
shouldn't be on
doesn't
this.
feel like... How does it... What if it starts going backwards? So it's...
I was pregnant with Steven and I had just... I don't even know if I knew I was pregnant yet, but man, did I have morning sickness. I should have known. That did not help things out. At the top, they had that really rich garlic soup. You know why I remember? Because I was pregnant.
I don't remember what I ate up at the top there.
Oh, I couldn't eat it. It was too rich for me having morning sickness.
I do love traveling though. And shortly after Melissa and I were married, we traveled around a good chunk of Europe. We went to
Yeah.
the Czech Republic.
Well, you can go quite you drive an hour and you're not in another country. Like the
But the history there, that's the one thing I'm jealous of for people who live in the United Kingdom or places like that. If you want to go to Italy, it's a short flight, or you could even drive if you felt like it. You could drive to Spain, or France is just across the channel. And there's access to so much culture and so much history. Just if you're bored or have a week off, you could go like, yeah, we'll do Italy and Spain this weekend, and it's no big deal. We have to cross an entire ocean to get over there, but once you're there, you can see a lot of Europe. And we went to Venice together, and Prague was pretty.
yeah.
Prague was interesting.
Liechtenstein.
Yeah, we went all over the place.
Yeah.
I was scared of the Royal Gorge. I'm just saying, John says he bungee jumped back in '93. Yeah.
130 feet. While he's talking about it. So.
Were you taller when you got back up to the top?
I've never bungee jumped.
No, yeah. I haven't even accidentally bungee jumped. Where I like tripped on a cord and fell off whoa!
Can you imagine if somebody has a story of accidental bungee jump
Oh.
and they're able to talk about it after?
Who said,
New Zealand.
Mandanimal says, swinging pirate ship is the Barfomatic. Is that the one where it's zoop,
Yeah.
zoop, and then it almost goes upside down, or sometimes does?
No, there's one that does go upside down. But so I went on that swinging pirate ship because I thought it looked like a gentle rocking ride. But you don't really. Once you're on it, you have a whole new knowledge. It was so brutal.
Yeah. Alan Questel says, is it time to get out of the market? Which market? You talking stock market, antique market? Not sure. I would say as it comes to with antiques, I have no idea about the stock market. If you're asking about that, I'm not the right person to ask about the stock market. I've never thought investing in the stock market was a really great idea. I know there's people who make a lot of money at it, same with Bitcoin and stuff like that. I like tactile things you can invest your money in that you can actually enjoy, like property, or, as you know, maybe an old car or two, things that you can get in and put a smile on your face. And it seems like, with some investments like that, it can be a little dodgy. That said, even with antiques right now, I don't know about you guys, but I've noticed that stuff has really been going down in value. Specifically, oil and gas, petroliana collectibles are probably, I would say, more than 50% less than what they were at their peak maybe 5 or 6 years ago. When you would find an old oil can, they were easily, $100, $200 for certain ones. And now I'm seeing at the antique malls, those same cans that would have been $100, $200, $300 5 years ago are $20, $30 now, and they're sitting. So I don't know what's going on with the antiques market. I try and keep track of what things would sell at auction. But then again, even the sales at the auction have been a lot lower. I think a lot of people are just kind of hanging on to their money right now. We were disappointed. We did a storage unit clear out, which you guys will see the video of at one point, but there was these beautiful, like, brand new couches in there, and they sold for $12 a couch. At that point, we should have just stored them and kept them for when the kids moved out.
Yeah, they were a nice. Did you do that video yet?
It hasn't come out yet, no. They are in for a barrage of storage unit clear out videos.
We were in for a whole bunch of storage unit clearouts. There was a lot.
I've been busy, guys. I've been really busy making videos and doing a lot more. I wanted to do the travel since Melissa wasn't going to come with me on that trip and the kids were in school. I wanted to make sure that I did that trip before summer, because when the kids are off during summer, we'll probably go and do something as a family. But now that I'm back, I've been keeping very busy doing storage unit clearouts. And I don't know, just trying to take care of myself a little bit too, just trying to exercise a bit more and eat healthier and things like that. Janet Rogers says, I am the same. Hate heights, scared of the interstate driving. There's been roads that we have here that Melissa doesn't like either. If you ever drive through the mountains in BC, some of those, the people that drive those roads regularly are very comfortable, but there's been times where Melissa has held on and to the door handle and maybe said a few choice words as we were going near a cliff's edge.
So I don't normally curse. Unless somebody takes over in my body when I'm scared and we're driving somewhere, then all that politeness and apparently it's gone out the window.
Yeah, the crow's nest pass, Chris says. Yeah, Melissa's
No, is that
not.
where it was? Oh my gosh. Well, no, that's where Jason scared us, remember?
That was the crow's nest. The Coca-Cola is what we were on, and you were. And people drive really
But it
fast
was
through
like
there too.
pouring rain. It was pouring rain, and people are whipping around those corners, even though, like, I mean, some of the. I'm good. Coca-Cola, that's a huge highway. That's not where we were. That's like the 3-lane highway.
Robert, to answer your question, Robert asked me a question there, and I have. He's worried about public opinion and things like that, and we're not really talking about that on today's thing. But I have traveled all over parts of the world. There's parts of the world I haven't been to, and I've met lovely, extraordinary people almost everywhere I go. People are people at the end of the day, and they want you to enjoy being in their area, whether it's in Italy or Germany or Austria or any of the places we go. We've always met really kind and nice people. And I think Melissa has taught me overall, she's an optimist and believes that, and I don't want to speak for you, but I think she believes inherently people are good and nice. And I've traveled all over Canada, and I've traveled over quite a bit of the United States. And I've had wonderful, lovely experiences everywhere I've went. I'm not engaging as much with Facebook right now, and part of that is because I think that there's a lot of bots on there, and I think there's a lot of intentional divisatory. Anyway, there's a lot of
Things created to try to cause
intentional division,
Yeah.
and I just I don't want to believe that is the case, because when you look at the reality of the situation. I have been to Nashville, I've been to Arkansas, I've been to Oklahoma, I've been to Colorado, New York, California, all over. You name a part of the states, I've pretty much been there. And everybody's pretty much just nice. At the baseline of people is just like, how's your day? How are things going? And so I just would rather engage with the reality, not with keyboard warriors, but the reality of my experience, which is regardless of whether I've been on the East Coast or West Coast of the United States or the East Coast or West Coast of Canada, that I've had nothing but wonderful experiences with people from all walks of life. And I'd like to just keep looking at it that way and hope that that spirit keeps prevailing and that the wonderful, nice people that are out there just keep being nice, wonderful people. So yeah, to answer your question, I've just decided that I'm going to base my my experiences and thoughts on the facts that I've had in front of me, and based on my own experiences, I have not had anybody be mean or rude. I've only had people be really nice. So let's just hope it stays that way. And plus, there's lots of wonderful people up here. I'm in Canada, if you didn't know that. We are obviously not somewhere warm and tropical because there's snow on the ground back there.
Some people said that they would love to come here just to experience snow.
Oh, go ahead, take it with them.
Take a whole bunch, please.
Let's see. Mike is wondering if the real reason I sold an antique shop is just because the return on investment and people. So he's saying basically, were you finding that people weren't buying antiques at your antique shop? Is that why you closed it? There's a couple reasons why I closed the antique store. One, the timing was just after COVID. We'd been shut down for about a year and a half at that point. And we had to get very creative in terms of buying estates and buying storage units and things and selling through auction, because those were avenues that I was allowed to do, but I wasn't considered a essential business to stay open. I probably could have been, because we did sell food, but it would have felt really wrong when everybody else is shut down to open up because you sell candy. So when we reopened, people weren't buying as many antiques. Prior to us closing in that 2019, 2020 kind of period, we had wonderful sales. We had really cool stuff coming in, pinball machines and porcelain gasoline signs and pumps and motorcycles, Harley Davidsons and stuff, and that stuff was selling great. After, the things that were selling were, people wanted to come in the store, but they were buying things like coffee mugs, t-shirts, jams and honeys and stuff. And they would look at the antiques, but it wasn't really selling. And so the main reason why I closed the store down is that I was very much turning into more of a gift shop. And I'll say it was successful. We were selling lots of stuff. We were busy, but the stuff that was going out the door wasn't so much antiques. And I started thinking that here I am advertised as an antique store, and I did have antiques. But when you came in the store, I would say near the end there, 50% of the store, if not maybe a little bit better, was more newer products, newer items, a lot of locally made goods and stuff. And it was selling well, but I felt like I wasn't staying true to what the store was. And I don't know. I also just, after losing, frankly, my dad passed away, Melissa's dad passed away, and then you're dealing with their stuff. I didn't want to burden Melissa with a bunch of stuff. That was really on my mind, is that, geez, if something ever happened to me, she'd be stuck dealing with all this. And I didn't want her to have to deal with all of that stuff. So I needed to take a step back. I needed a breather. The market had changed a little bit in terms of what people were spending money on. I wanted to stay true to being an antique store if that's what I was going to be. And I don't know. Also, a lot of times people would come in with stuff for sale, and it would be a box of like broken toasters and stuff, and you're like, I don't really want any of this stuff. I don't want anything.
And it's hard. You know what? It's hard to disappoint people, even though that's life. But when somebody brings you in a box of what they think is treasures, it's so hard to let them know that that's not what we want to sell. We wouldn't say, that's not good, but at the same time, you could see that they were hoping. Obviously, they have bills and stuff too, but yeah.
I think we opened our first store in the first strip mall probably 2017 or 2016, somewhere around there. It was about 8 years ago, anyhow.
The Axel Toys?
No, the first store.
Oh, I see.
Because we had the Curiosity Inc. in the strip mall.
I thought they meant like our first store.
Yeah. So it was a really hard decision to make, because I really loved being part of that community, but the store really was starting to turn into something that it wasn't what I thought it was going to be when I first opened it. We started adapting to what people were asking for. We started adapting, as you do, to what products are selling. And the store was really just morphing into more of kind of a cool, funky gift shop, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with having a cool, funky gift shop, but if that's what you are, you should be advertising that's what you are. And we dabbled in antiques and stuff too. So I probably could have kept it going as it was, but it felt like I probably needed a bit of a change. And we had people that were, you must be tired.
I don't know what's wrong with me.
Is it me? Am I boring you? Melissa's falling asleep here.
No, it's not that. It's when I sit for a while, it makes me yawn. I don't know why.
I'm gonna put you on a Ferris wheel. That'll wake you right up. Anyway, I don't know about the whole store thing. I've owned, this is my second business that I've owned. We had a toy store initially in West Edmonton Mall, which is a big shopping mall.
And it was a lot of collectible toys as well.
It was more like high-end collectibles, like die cast and things like that.
We had like a mixture so that other people could have like toys as well.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Lisa said, you made me yawn.
I should have moved out of the frame rather than making you guys all witness my yawn.
Yeah. That's all right.
Goodness.
You can't control the fact that you're sleepy. Plus, we've had a busy day today, too. Been running around. I have a very busy day tomorrow.
I built a wood rack in the back for when we're doing like fires and stuff. I thought it would be good for us to store somewhere. It's interesting. Yeah, I don't know how it's going to work, but I built it.
Oh, I see. Renee says it's hard. She recently had to explain to her mother-in-law that her 12-place Lennox dinner set was not as much of a desired treasure as she thought. That's a funny thing. Things really change in value. If you think about the stuff that maybe our parents collected, a lot of that has shifted in the last little while. Good stuff will always be, in my opinion, good stuff. So if you collect, let's say we have diecast Dave on right now, nitrous diecast. He collects Hot Wheels. Well, if you were to collect the best condition red line Hot Wheels that you could find, those will probably always be worth something to somebody. But if you went really big into certain series, they might lose their value. There still is a good demand for that sort of stuff right now. But like coal oil lamps, that isn't so hot right now. any kind of wood furniture, antique furniture is just impossible to sell. You know, we have an antique desk that was made in 1820, beautiful condition. It's oh, what is the name of the style? Anyway, it's a very certain Jacobean style desk. We'd probably be lucky to get a couple $100 for that thing, where if this was 1987, it would probably be a couple thousand. You know, like, things have really shifted in terms of antique furniture. People just are not decorating with dark wood furniture, or what they call in an industry brown furniture is out. Mid-century modern still seems to be doing good, and I think it's very space age and sleek, and I think that's why it stayed well. Like, teak is very light and bright. So a lot of light colored things, bright colored, airy things have done well. But Pyrex is still good, but there's a lot of things that people were collecting before, like fine bone china and stuff, that hasn't really kept its value that great. So I don't know. And things are different in different markets too. When I was in London and went to some of the antique shops, they were selling stuff there that I wouldn't even think of selling here, and like teacups and stuff like that. But they have a bigger tea culture, so there you go.
True. John said, "Stay on until midnight." I appreciate that you would. Oh, I guess you didn't say you would stay on till midnight.
Yeah, John's just daring me to say Melissa will pass out.
I would just be drooling, snoring.
Oh, Bluebird has a question that actually I do have thoughts on. So any thoughts on the historic 350-year-old business, the Bay, being liquidated? So some of you might not know, but the Hudson's Bay Company is one of the main reasons why North America is even here in the first place. Not just Canada, but North America. English fur traders came over and started setting up forts to trade with our indigenous peoples, beaver pelts, which were then used to turn into top hats in England and such. And it started in the 1600s for the furs. And as a result, a lot of these forts became cities. In fact, the city of Edmonton that I live in right now was a former Hudson's Bay trading fort called Fort Edmonton. And they were literally forts with like pointy log walls and fortifications and things like that. Although they never had any breaches, it was always very civil and between our indigenous peoples for the most part in terms of trading here. They had forts all over the place. And so the Bay has been in business since before America was America, before Canada was Canada. It was like it was in Rupert's Land, 1600s. And they'd kind of turned into like a Macy's-ish department store after a while. In the 1920s and 30s, the Bay was like Sears, where you could buy everything from, your overcoats, a wristwatch, or an entire house. You could buy a made-to-order house that would deliver it on a train car, and everything you needed from windows to hardwood floors to everything would be in there. And so they used to be a real major thing here in Canada. As you can imagine, what Sears was in the United States in days gone by, that's what the Bay was. And Eaton's, the other department store that's long since been gone. The Bay was a pretty major store, and as a result, there's a lot of massive buildings in all of our downtowns that are these lovely historic structures going back to the 1920s that are huge department stores with marble floors and columns and just beautiful structures. Unfortunately, the last 10 years or so, the Bay has gone into serious decline with online shopping. They weren't able to kind of transition over to that. They didn't diversify their products enough, and they became known as sort of a stale store that your grandparents probably shopped at, very much like what Sears became near the end. What's even more disheartening for me to see the decline of this once great cultural icon for us and business is I used to be a store manager for one of their stores. Can you imagine, guys? I had real jobs. I had employees and staff, and I used to manage a department store at one point and had hundreds of staff. And I cared a lot about that. And I actually went into my old store the other day just to kind of see what it was like. And it was really disappointing. So when I was there, and I was there 15 years ago, let's say, it hadn't gone into full decline yet. In fact, they were kind of having a bit of a resurgence. They were trying to bring in higher end clients. So they're bringing in nicer perfumes, nicer cosmetics, nicer clothing. They were trying to sort of up the ante and make it more like Lord & Taylor bought the company at that time. And so they're trying to make it like a higher end store. And so I had really high standards for the store, and I wore a nice suit every day, and every time I went into work, I made sure that in our we had China and housewares department, that every teacup handle was pointed in the same direction and everything was uniformed and spaced nicely. All the product was face front. Our floors were clean and waxed. Every light bulb was changed out. And I went in now, and it was like, I don't know if anybody went into like a Sears when they were on their last days, that it was just like people threw boxes all over the floor, and there were shoes here and clothes there, empty departments. And I remember having to fight so hard to get brand new carpeting put in my ladies department, that I just wanted the investment from the company so I could really make the store look fantastic, so the guest experience was great. And I fought so hard, and I was so proud that I got that brand new carpet in 15 years ago. And it was kind of weird walking through the store, and it's all disheveled now, where I made sure that every bit of glass was polished and clean, and every teacup facing the right direction, and every floor polished and shiny, and to see it scuffed and dirty, and to look down and see that carpet that I really begged hard to get put in, covered in gum stains and dirt that they hadn't been maintaining. Just a couple things. It made me feel like I tried so hard, and for what? But maybe we had a better experience for our customers at the time that we were there. And I know that I was proud of the work that I was doing at the store. But at the end of the day, everything is temporary. And this takes us full circle to the beginning of the conversation. We talked about you don't take it with you. When I went to Pompeii, and you see that they really cared about their house. And they got buried in ash, and it's gone, and they were gone. And everything we have is temporary. It kind of leaves you feeling a little bit melancholic, to be honest with you. I am sad that the Bay is closing, and they're keeping a few stores open in the east coast of Canada for a little while to see if they'll be able to keep them going. But in my opinion, they'd have to really change how they approach those stores to keep them afloat. It's not that you can't have a big square footage store and do well. It's just the type of product, the type of experience that you're providing people has to be different. And I remember as a kid, when I went into the Bay, and for those of you that aren't from Canada and don't know what I'm talking about, just imagine a really big fancy Sears. It's like a Sears but fancier, or at least it used to be. Mm-hmm. That they had the Bay downtown here, and it was a giant, took up a whole city block. 3 stories, everything you could imagine was sold there, from imported candies and chocolates to clothing. But in the basement, they had a market where they actually had like a butcher shop, and they had a coffee shop, and they used to have like a guy playing violin down there, playing fiddle music, and it was full of life. You'd have to walk kind of sideways to get through the crowds, and I'd be following my mom and my grandma as we went shopping in there. And it just felt like it was so full of life. It felt like the community had come together. They were picking up the things that they liked, picking up their meats, their cheeses from the basement, grabbing a snack. They used to have a malt shop that you could get a chocolate malt or a hot dog. And I used to love stopping at the malt stop there, and you'd sit there and on these little round stools and grab a milkshake or a malt. There was just an energy to it. And the energy just left, and they got rid of all the things that made it really interesting. And they got rid of the things that made it part of a community. And I think that if they got back into providing products that people thought were compelling and providing experience that people thought was compelling, I think that it was more of like, if you've ever been to like a farmer's market or a street market, that's kind of what it felt like when you were in some of those stores. Just very vibrant and lots to do, and you could pick up a shirt, you could go grab food, you could do all sorts of stuff. And so, yeah, it's with heavy heart that I watched the decline of this store. And I see how it's fading, and you look back and you go, well, they could have done just a few key things to change the store. They could have brought in the clothing sold well, but the main thing that they sold was cosmetics and fragrances. That was the main moneymaker for those stores. And when I went back this go around, there was one person working the counters, and all of what used to be Lancome and Clinique and all these other counters that we used to manage were all empty and void of product, and one lady selling the last remaining bits of perfume there. And I think about how much effort we put into that department to staff it and to make sure it was a real experience. It's sad, for sure. I'm a retailer at heart. As much as I do these videos, guys, and I do storage unit videos and things like that, because I do like adventure and I do like finding stuff, I am from a long line of retailers. I go back to the 1800s, and my family owned a retail store in Wooler, England. So I guess it's in my blood.
But Alexander has like his brain already like prints up the list of what needs to be done to he came back from that experience of seeing how it is now and knowing that it's closing down. He's like, they need to put me in charge. I know what to do to make this work.
Yeah,
but he already had like he knew what needed to be done. But that's how you are in a lot of things. Like all of a sudden something will happen. Alexander will just be quiet for a second. He's already got that list going. So.
Oh yeah. I mean, the other thing was like we're a city of what are we over? Just over 1.5 million. I think we're 1.5 million people or something here. They had something like 5 or 6 stores just in our area. You only needed one. Like there's only one IKEA. You didn't need to have 5 or 6 stores. They were saturated. So I don't think there'd be any saving that business without reducing the amount of stores probably by, at least a fifth or a sixth across the country. So I think they'd have to do some major restructuring either way. That said, they own a lot of real estate. They own a lot of their buildings and have long-term life leases. So I think that there is a creative way to save some of these sorts of businesses, but I'm not. I left that business for the time being. Who knows? Maybe I'll go back. Maybe somebody from the Bay will watch and be like, fine, you think you can figure this out? And I'll go, great. Let's sit down. Let's figure this out.
Yeah, but you would be all for that.
I would totally. Hey, Hudson's Bay. You want me back? I will help you fix your remaining 5 or 6 stores you're keeping. Let's fix it. Let's do it.
Oh yeah, they are keeping 5 or 6 stores.
Yeah, they're keeping it, but they said that
it wouldn't surprise me at all if tomorrow Alexander was like, guess what I'm doing? It wouldn't even surprise me. I just assume that it might happen actually.
I've done enough random things in our life that I can say really odd stuff like, I think I'm gonna go buy the Oscar Mayer Wienermobile and drive it around. She'll go, oh, well, when's that coming
Who
home?
was it that sent us that link?
It was a fake link, but I probably would have bought it.
Oh gosh.
Wouldn't want to rear-end somebody in that car. Yeah, I think somebody also sent me a picture that one had like gone off the road or something. Like, how embarrassing to call a tow truck. All right, what's the year, make, and model of vehicle? It's a 1987 hot dog. Yeah, back to hot dogs again. You're right. This is how to. So maybe we need to have hot dogs for dinner tomorrow. I think that's what it is.
But there's some frozen downstairs.
Yeah, I don't know. I just like really odd, unusual things. But yeah, I 100% would drive something really random like that. And Melissa would just begrudgingly hop in and just see if there's a mirror to check her makeup and like treat it like a normal car. Does this Wienermobile have a glove box or what? Where am I going to put my stuff? Yeah.
As long as it's not claustrophobic, we're good.
No, she'd probably say, does this have winter tires on it?
Well, now I would. How are the windshield wipers? Is this safe? Yeah, actually, that would be the first thing I'd say.
I imagine that'd be pretty aerodynamic. Anyway, I'm not going to get into that. That conversation is going to go off the rails in a hurry. But yeah, Melissa puts up with a lot of my strangeness.
Well, that puts up with your...
Well, hey, I make things spicy.
You could just say interesting.
See, I've been to Italy now. I cannot talk like this.
I guess, did you tell them that about when, I don't remember what was said and all those ladies were like...
Oh,
yeah.
I don't even know if I mentioned it in one of the videos or not, but...
We've been together long enough that I gave that description and Alexander knew.
I know what she's talking about. So it was my first day traveling. I was on my way to Italy, so I had to go to London first, and lovely folks came and picked me up in their vintage Saab when we drove around, and a big shout out to them. They were wonderful people. But I had to go catch the plane to Italy the next day, and because I was part of a tour group, I had to go to the group check-in area, and in front, I got there early. If one thing to know about me is I'm always early. I hate being late. I'm usually regrettably too early for things, uncomfortably early for stuff. And so there I am, probably like an hour or two early for the airport. And there's this group of Italian ladies in front of us, probably about 30 or 40. And it's just me and 40 Italian women waiting to get on some flight that they booked. And I could hear them talking Italian, and I've been trying to learn Italian, so I'm trying to make out what some people are saying. They're talking about their kids or work or whatever. And the agent, the British agent, comes over and they say, Ladies, I'm very sorry. We're going to have to check you in at a different counter down the way. And in unison, and I kid you not, in unison, imagine 40 middle-aged Italian ladies all at once went, Mamma Mia! All at once. All of them, 40 of them, like a choir of them. It's like their default setting when something doesn't go right is to Mamma Mia really loudly. And you might think that's a stereotype, but you go to Italy and tell me that that doesn't happen. They say Mamma Mia when they're frustrated. When we're in traffic and somebody would cut off our driver, my tour guide, Mamma Mia, stupido! Mamma Mia. So I heard a chorus of Mamma Mia from like 40 women, and it was just the cutest thing. I'm sure they were frustrated, but for me, I was just like, oh, this is great. And I'm on my way to their country. But yeah, it was wonderful, and it definitely paid off knowing a little bit of Italian too.
Somebody said, I just found out about your channel from my grandma. She's your neighbor.
Oh.
I bet it's Linda.
Oh, it could be. Maybe it's Linda. I don't know. We have wonderful neighbors.
We do. We have, our whole community is pretty amazing. We've been really lucky. When we lived in Winnipeg, we had amazing neighbors.
I'll be right back.
Edmonton, amazing neighbors. Outside of Edmonton, I've been sitting too long. I'm concerned of where he's going. Oh, Kleenex. I hope you guys are all doing well. We haven't done a live feed. Well, actually, I haven't been part of a live feed in a hot minute for sure.
Yeah, the last live feed I put up, I was frustrated about tariffs, and then I took it down because the tariffs came off and then went back up, and I realized this is kind of
I missed that one.
It's all beyond me. Nothing I can do about it, sadly. And I've decided, instead of being frustrated, I'm just going to try and look for the good in people and the good in these situations. And
that's the one thing about having you guys too, is that you're kind of our support system. So sometimes when something big is happening to all of us, it's nice because it's like having a bunch of friends that you're like, can you believe this? But that can also work a lot of people up. So we generally don't do that.
Yeah.
But we really do appreciate all of you and the support that you've given both of us and our whole family. You can't even begin to thank you could never, there's no words of how thankful we actually are for every single one of you. So thank you.
Sarah Wardle says, did you find anything about England strange? I went to a buffet place that had it was just nothing but roast beef and mashed potatoes. It was like what we would normally eat for like a Thanksgiving dinner. They're like, oh, let's go to this buffet place for dinner. Okay, great. It was like a carvery place. There's no chicken, nothing like that. It was just every type of roast beef you can imagine and multiple types of gravy. I'm like, there's more than one gravy type? Like, it wasn't like
in
turkey.
England?
Yeah, they had like 3 or 4 different types of beef-based gravy that were different flavors and stuff. Anyway, that I wouldn't say that was strange, but I was like, oh, that's different.
We don't really have white gravy here. Like, I know they have that in the States, but like, we don't really have some people obviously do, but we don't do biscuits and gravy and stuff like that.
Yeah, we don't do that too much. It was good. Trust me. It was like having a Thanksgiving or Christmas dinner kind of. It was fine. This is one thing that was surprising about London. There was like no old cars. And I found out that because they charge people to drive in to London and there's congestion fees and stuff, that a lot of vintage cars just really aren't on the road. And when I went on Facebook Marketplace to see what they were selling old cars for, they were very reasonably priced. So that was a surprise. I was also surprised that Windsor Castle is basically like a shopping mall. So I always imagined Windsor Castle, I imagined, and I think I said this in the video, I imagined Downton Abbey, like some giant field. And it probably was, when it was built, this estate. But, going there now, it's basically just these walls, and all around the walls are shopping districts. And that's what I thought was funny, is that they had a Five Guys burgers and fries, like an American hamburger place. Like, the king gets hungry, he's just like, yeah, I'll be right back. I'm just gonna pop over to Five Guys for some of them wicked fries. I wasn't expecting the royals to live in a shopping mall. That was surprising to me. But no, it was, the buildings were older, but it felt very similar. Honestly, Canada feels a lot like parts of Europe in some ways, except the housing is much different. And they said your mistake was going to the one place in the UK that isn't representative of the UK. I only went there because it was near to the airport, and London was fine. I went to Ace Cafe. and saw a few of the sites there. But I think where I want to go is I do want to go to England, and I want to go to the Northumberland area where my family's from, visit my roots and go see where my family lived, and just kind of take that in. That might be one of those Alex backpacking adventure type trips that I just go. Heather said she might want to go with me, but I don't know if that'll happen. But if not, I'll even just go by myself if need be. And I just want to go see my family's store is still there. The store that my family owned in 1800 before they got on the sailboat and came to New York. Their store is still, and yes, my family was American too. For those of you that are like, you're Canadian. A lot of Canadians were also American at some point too. Like everybody just came over here to try and figure stuff out, to try and survive. I can't imagine how difficult it was to be a homesteader for Melissa's ancestors and for mine. In Melissa's case, her mom still lives on her homesteader property that they've been there since like 1900 or so, or 1911 or something like that. They've been there a really long time on that property.
Yeah.
But my family came over in 1850 on a sailboat and landed at the Battery in New York. And then they were in upstate New York, and then Detroit, Wayne County, and then South Dakota. They only came up to Canada in the last 100 years because there was free farmland. And that's why we're up here. So I think we have as much roots in the United States, at least on my side, as I do as being Canadian. Probably, they were in the US. Well, maybe we've been in Canada longer now, but it's still early times. And you think about what they had to go through to get on a sailboat and make that journey and then try and figure out a life for themselves over here. Anybody who has family that's been in this country for a long time knows that everybody had a real tough go of things to try and figure it out. And we're all the same. Every one of us who lives in North America, unless you're an indigenous person, is an immigrant from somewhere else that came here for the same reasons, to try and make a better life for their families. And so that's one of the reasons why I refuse to buy into this, all these conversations that try and divide us, is because we're all actually very similar at the end of the day. So I'd rather see the similarities and know that, somebody in Canada is playing the same video game at the same time as some person in the United States. And really, we're all just very similar people, just in different circumstances. Yeah. Try and see I'm trying to be more like Melissa, and I'm trying to see more the good and the positive. And
I think it's true though. We all had to figure out meals today. We all had to clean at some point. We all did. We all had our adventures of the day. The part that I like about traveling is meeting people. I love hearing their stories. I love learning about what makes people tick and what makes them excited for life. I love that so much.
Yeah, there's Tom says there's a lot of history well documented of people who traveled to the Americas, but less available about Canadian history. If you're in Canada, you get the Canadian history part of it. And in a nutshell, like I said before, the Hudson's Bay Company is a reason why Canada and a lot of North Americans came over for the fur trade. But when the colonies were founded, it went up into Canada. And so those colonies extended up into Canada along the East Coast. And so that was all England. And then Quebec went all the way down to Louisiana. That was New France. And the rest of it was pretty much as Wild West open territory. And if you look at the history of North America, we've been French. Parts of America have been Spanish. There's been all sorts of different changes over the years. And the capital of New France, which was a good chunk of America running right down into Louisiana, which is why there's French-speaking Cajun people down there, is because the same reason why there's French-speaking Canadians, is that they just kept the language up more, is that was part of France. And the capital of New France was Quebec. And that's one place I've never been that I'd like to go. It's the most ancient fortified city in North America is Quebec, founded in, I believe, the 15 or 1600s, really long time ago anyway. And the walled city is still largely intact. So I would like to go see that. I think that'd be cool to go see that history, and that's here in my own country. Lots of great engineering feats, and after the War of Independence, a lot of people that were loyal to the King came up to Canada, and so Canada became a British colony and expanded out, and and America did its own thing. And there's just a lot of history that's all very intertwined. But at some point, parts of us were French, and parts of us were American, and parts of us were British, and parts of us were indigenous, or from India, or from the Middle East, or who knows where. People just come from all over the place and try and make a home here. And I just think it's important to remember just how similar we all are, and the truth that I've had wonderful experiences over every part of Canada and America that I've been to. We were in the east coast of Canada. Do you remember that? We went to the guy's garage sale.
Yeah.
And he said, "Oh, you do a YouTube channel." And then he went and he got all of his gear and he set up and did a whole concert in his yard for us. If you go back and look at that series, it's in there somewhere. The guy saying he was really good.
It was the first time we went to Nova Scotia. That
wonderful people in the east coast of Canada.
Literally, that felt like a bunch of family. You go, we got to go like we went on the sailboat and.
Yeah, with Tish.
Yeah, Tish.
Tish Petit.
She could be on here.
She might be on here. Tish took us out on her sailboat. I would say that probably some of the friendliest people in Canada you're going to find on the east coast of Canada. And I think most Canadians would agree. They are wonderful, invite you into their house for dinner, take care of their neighbors. And when you go there, it's how you hope a community would be, where they don't have a lot of big chains. It's a lot of independent mom and pop stores, little general stores. The grocery stores are sort of like corner grocery stores, and there might be country roads and you stop and it's somebody who owns this little grocery store and they're selling you fresh produce and stuff. It felt very connected and it felt very rural and very friendly. And when you run into people, they're open to chatting and talking. We love the east coast of Canada.
Yeah.
It's like your friendliest relatives are out there.
We went to a lobster place, and the guy that owned it was also the doctor, remember?
Oh yeah, the guy that owned the lobster restaurant was also the town doctor.
But then he knew that we were visiting, and he like took some lobsters and he showed the kids like the difference between a female and a male, and he let them see them. And
you made that sound almost dirty. He showed the kids what a male or female lobster looked like, No. Kate, that restaurant, goodness. I've never had proper East Coast lobster before, and I thought today's the day. Well, I don't know how to tear into those things like the locals do. I'm spoiled that I like the lobster tail to come out and it's just puffy and kind of ready to go.
This experience should have made me vegetarian. Alexander eating lobster.
Yeah, giant sea bug. They just plop it on your plate.
Yeah, nothing.
No preparation. There's just some giant sea bug sitting there. I'm used to just the tail and it's all poofy and whatever. But anyway, the crazy thing was this place was very famous. Do you remember what it was called? I can't remember. It was in Nova Scotia. It was a very famous lobster restaurant. And it's so fresh. This is how fresh it is. That when we walked up to the restaurant and we were early for our reservation, because you make a reservation, everybody goes there for dinner at the same time. They do dinner at like 6 o'clock. And so everybody's going to have dinner at 6 o'clock in this restaurant. That's just how they do it. You don't show up before. You don't like, this is the time we serve dinner. We walked up to the restaurant and we saw the chef. Imagine like the Swedish chef from the Muppets. He was coming up in his full chef outfit with his chef hat from the ocean, carrying the lobster.
Yeah.
That he just pulled out of the ocean from the lobster trap.
I think they cooked it in seawater too.
They cook it in seawater. Oh. But it was so fresh that we saw the chef bringing it from the ocean.
Yeah. I don't like seafood either. Somebody said they don't like seafood.
Well, they had a really good salad bar though too.
I can't remember any of that because of watching you go.
Oh yeah, it was an experience.
I don't know if do you think you could still eat lobster after that?
Lobster tail, yeah. I wouldn't want to have that giant bug put in front of me again though.
That was bad time.
And it was expensive to get a whole big lobster there too. Oh, Leah says you cracked me up. Well, the one thing I couldn't do is crack up a lobster. I didn't know what to do with the things, and they're flying out of my hand, and stuff's cracking all over the place, and I didn't know what to do with it.
She said, I don't eat seafood either, just some fish. No, that's seafood.
No, so...
I eat no seafood, not even seaweed, nothing that comes out of the ocean.
The embarrassing thing about that for me is that as somebody who's had lobster, and I like it, I don't know if I like lobster or if I just like melted butter. I like
melted butter.
No, because they give you that little... The fancy little melted butter thing with the candle, that makes everything better. And then you're just like, oh, this is amazing. I love melted stuff. Anyway, I'm used to being spoiled, and here in Alberta, you get steak and lobster. You get a nice, like maybe a 6 or 8 ounce steak, and you get a lobster tail, and it's all prepared, and you just cut off your little chunk, and you dip it in the butter, and you eat it. Well, there, they just plop down the bug right in front of you, and I don't know what the heck I'm supposed to do. Like, do I crack this? And it's not like a very easy thing to get into, because, you know, it's like a fortified tank of bugs. And I look over, and the locals are just like cracking and smacking and eating and pulling stuff out, and they know what to do. And they've got like bibs and stuff all over, so and they're just like going to town. And the waiter's like, are you doing okay? Do you want some help with that? And I was like, no, I got this. And I had no idea what I was doing. And I left it after eating like what little I could scavenge. I would not be like on Castaway. I'd be in trouble. I'd be stuck with the coconuts.
Eventually you eat whatever you can because you're starving. So, I mean, if you were on Castaway.
This is true. But yeah, it was...
that's probably the only time I'll ever touch seafood.
Did you try some?
Yeah, I took one tiny bite.
Really?
All seafood tastes exactly the same, just different levels of fishiness for me. Oh, no.
Melissa eats anything that came out of the ocean.
Is that a coyote at our fence?
Yeah, coyote just went by.
Oh, coyote! Come on.
They walk by like a dog in this area.
I think we told you guys I locked one in the yard twice. Why?
Gilligan's Island, where a professor can build a radio out of a coconut but can't fix a 3-foot hole in the side of a boat. That was the joke. You've been there for 8 years. Can't you make some glue or some nails and get that thing back in the water? They could have dug the sand out, and anyway. I saw the real SS Minnow. Did I ever tell you guys that? I've seen the SS Minnow live in person. They had it in Vancouver Island.
Yeah.
You saw it too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we saw it. It was at a harbor, and my aunt's like, that's the SS Minnow. I'm like, what? And they're like, yeah, somebody restored it, and they like take it around and they sail in it and stuff. So if you ever wonder what happened to the SS Minnow, it got off the island, and somebody's sailing it around North America, and who knows where else right now. It was all fixed up. It looked good. It was a nice old boat.
Crocodile tastes like fish, pork, and chicken. Those are 3 things I don't need to mix together. You have saved me.
Right now, there's a crocodile explaining what humans taste like, and they're saying the same thing. Other than the wristwatch you got to spit out, it tasted a lot like chicken or pork. That's one thing I'm glad we don't have. We don't have alligators or crocodiles here.
We don't really have, I mean, we have coyotes, but to be fair, we went and chased ours for a while. Like it's trying to get it out.
Okay, Laura says alligator tastes the way old tires smell. Oh, is that true? You're not selling me on eating alligator. I mean, it wasn't really it wasn't a preferred thing, but
sick.
Yeah, the SS Minnow is on an eternal 3-hour tour. Yeah, a 3-hour tour. Moose are dangerous, says Graham.
Oh, true. But you don't really see them very often. They're dangerous.
But they're not, it's not like they will hunt you. A moose is like not aggressive until you get near it or in the way of its cover.
That's not true. In rutting, when they're in rut, they absolutely will get to. They're not going to hunt you and eat you for supper.
What's rut like when they're in heat?
It's in fall. They go crazy. And then they...
Like hornets?
Like hornets.
Nothing likes winter.
Giant horse.
Humans get all ornery when winter's coming up here. It's gonna snow next week. And then it snows and you're like, stop. Every year we yell at the sky. Why?
We have, it's been so nice and warm. You don't want to get too excited about spring here. I see like on other YouTube channels where it's full green grass. They've got their garden started. I saw Bandana Grandma said she planted her radishes, I think, already.
I think I need to drive Abigail. I think Abigail has her friend over, and I think I was supposed to drive their friend at 8, and it's now 8:11. So I better be a dad.
They didn't come down the stairs and be like,
No, because you know what kids are like. They're like, we're getting away with it.
Yeah, true.
I have to go drive my daughter and her friend back to her friend's place. So, guys, thank you very much. I'm going to go be a dad now and go do dad stuff. And I hope you guys are all doing well. Videos every Wednesday and Saturday for quite some time. And you're going to see me emptying every kind of storage locker that I could get my hands on. So it's going to be busy next couple months, guys. Thank you so much for being so positive and so lovely and so wonderful. And we appreciate all you guys very much. So thank you for tuning into the channel. Thank you for watching this episode. And guys, we'll see you all soon. Bye for now.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, guys.